Welcome to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. Every Wednesday, Mark and Kim, along with their special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Mark and Kim will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience, and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Mark and Kim are tested, certified, and professional spiritual mediums, metaphysical teachers, healers, and spiritual advisors with their own individual spiritual practices in Seattle, Washington, and Los Angeles, California. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
And a warm welcome today to our inspired listeners. Thank you for spending your time with us today and every Wednesday. And I do promise you will not be disappointed today. We've got an amazing show this next hour with an amazing guest that you are not going to want to miss. We'll be taking your questions and also talking about all things spiritual. But first, I'm Kim Thalken, founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. In Encino, California, you can find me at lovefirst.info. And this weekend, you can find me at the New Earth Expo in Manhattan Beach. Please stop by and say hi if you're in the area. And my co-host with a heart of gold in Seattle, Washington, the intuitive prospector, Mark Lanehart.
Hey there, Kim. Hey there, inspired listeners. Thank you so much for joining in today on our mission to get you inspired here on Inspired Living with Mark and Kim. As Kim said, I am your co-host, Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, beaming live all the way from the Pacific Northwest here in Seattle, Washington. And you can find out more about my work, my spiritual practice, and daily soul adventures at marklanehart.com, or you can internet search the intuitive prospector. And I too, Kim, have a workshop coming up this Sunday at my studio here in Seattle. So if you're interested in chakras, colors, and working with the human energy field or the auric field, visit my Facebook page and sign up for a Sunday morning metaphysical workshop. What fun is that to do on Sunday mornings, right?
Oh, absolutely. And not only are you going to be doing all kinds of great stuff this weekend, Mark, but we're going to be doing all kinds of great stuff this next hour. I have a feeling we're going to be doing a lot of prospecting today. I can feel it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And let's get into the show because we got a lot of information to cover. We have a lot of questions that have already come in from the inspired listeners. And so, Kim, real quick, I'm just going to let people know if they want to interact with the show live right now, head on over to our Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio, and Twitter, which is Inspired4Us. You can post your questions there or Twitter, and we'll bring them live to air if we have time. You can also visit us at Google Plus Communities under Inspired Living with Mark and Kim, and Instagram under Inspired for Us. That's the number for us. And our positive affirmation for this month, as we do each and every Wednesday, or what we like to call Wisdom Wednesday, is I have unshakable determination and willpower to make 2016 my most successful year ever. I'll say it one more time. I have unshakable determination and willpower to make 2016 my most successful year ever, and that is our Inspired Living positive affirmation for this month. If you do miss the live show today, don't worry. You can catch it over on our Encore, any of our Encore shows over on OMTimes Radio Archives, Podbean, SoundCloud, YouTube, Vimeo, or you can go to marklanehart.com, and I have all of the episodes there that you can listen to. And you're going to want to listen to this show. This is going to be a dynamite show. And Kim, real quick, we want to give it an inspired shout out if we could. We have a new listener that's listening in, and I don't know if he's listening right now, but if you are, Patrick, thanks for being one of our inspired listeners and listening to the show today. And back to you, Kim.
All right. Yes, thank you for listening, Patrick Inoue from Seattle, Washington. Mm-hmm. Without further delay, we want to bring on our guest as soon as possible because we know all of you are waiting. Michelle Whitedove was named America's #1 psychic by Lifetime TV after she won the first season of America's Psychic Challenge. Michelle's a naturally gifted clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, empath, and spirit medium. She's been this way since childhood, and her psychic abilities were featured in the HBO documentary No One Dies in LILLYDALE LiLLYDALE. In fact, we have the pleasure of having her call in live from LiLLYDALE today. She's a popular radio and television guest and has published several books. She's most known for some of her work in the field of medical intuition, health guidance, and as a psychic detective solving unusual crimes and mysteries. For more information, you can visit her website at michellewhitedove.com. We've also posted all of her information on social media. She's got 2 upcoming events that you can learn more about on her website as well, starting off with her new online course, A Journey of the Soul. It begins February 8th, so make sure you sign up for that. We're going to be talking a lot about the soul and what happens to the soul in this next hour. She's also going to be hosting a group on board the Royal Princess. How fun is that? It's a luxury cruise at an affordable price. So you'll find all that information again on michellewhitedove.com. She's also a fellow Best American Psychic colleague. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. So we've been waiting for this, Michelle, and so have our listeners. So we can feel the energy. We can feel the energy rising here. Now you're calling in from LiLLYDALE. There's a lot of people out there that like to learn a little bit more about the work that you're doing there and what LiLLYDALE is all about.
LiLLYDALE's an amazing place. It's going back to the 1800s, and people. I think it's a small community. But it's based on, mediums and improving the continuation of life. And, so that all kind of started with the documentary No One Dies in LiLLYDALE. That was my first time in LiLLYDALE. And I didn't even know I was doing that. But LiLLYDALE to me is a very spiritual place, a very sacred place. It's very natural. Like right now I'm looking at a white winterland. I don't know. But if I was in Florida right now, it would be very hot. But, no, this is a wonderful place, a spiritual place. And I also have residents here as well. So.
And are you teaching up there at all?
I do, in season. Right now, season's closed. Season's in the summer. I mean, people just flood. They just come through the gates. But, you have like 40 registered mediums, and we're called free thinkers, and it's about not religion but spirituality, more of a philosophy, because I don't believe in the man-made religion. So it's really a wonderful place that has amazing energy. Besides my favorite place, where my family comes from, Ireland, it's just one of those places you just can breathe and feel great, and everybody's lovely. So it's beautiful.
Wonderful. Yes, and I've heard the same from so many people that have gone there to study and to just be in that energy there. We're going to get into, I should say, there's a lot of interesting things we can talk about today. We're going to talk about today with your background and, of course, some of the information that recently came through to you in meditation. But since you are in LiLLYDALE right now, and it's known so much for mediumship, we do have 2 questions that have come in already on mediumship. Should we do those 2 questions and then kind of move into the journey of the soul?
Your show, guys.
I'm sorry. All right. Excellent. Let's do that. I know people are waiting to have some of their questions answered. So the first one, Michelle, came in from Patty Cesars, and she would like to hear from her daughter, Jamie, who is in spirit.
May I have her sun sign?
Jamie's sign?
And her, the one spirit that she's asking, yes, please.
Yes, she is a Capricorn, I believe. She just had a birthday in January.
Okay. Well, first of all, she's nothing to worry about. It's a transition. We just dropped our vessel, the physical form, and then we just I don't want to say trans over, but we cross over and we go to the light. And I'm not saying that for all souls. But in this particular case, I feel like what you just asked me, the question with the mother, correct, is, she's tugging on her, and she just wants her here physically, and it's not happening. I feel like her passing was quick, kind of unexpected, tragic. I don't think anybody really saw it coming. And she wants the mother, correct, to know that she is in the heavens, and there is no darkness, and there is no fear, and there's nothing but unconditional love and light and wisdom. And she's in healing right now. But she's been trying to come to her family member to make contact through the dream time, which really this is a dream here on earth, so we should dream big, a bigger dream. But spiritually speaking, people go, oh, it's a dream. That's really where we're from, and we return to the heavens. This is where we learn and grow. I call it a schoolhouse, for humanity. And it's time for all of us to spiritually wake up. But I also feel, yes, her mother just keeps tugging on her and grieving. And I understand this. I deal with it all the time. But just know, for the person that asked this question, if they pay attention a little bit more before they go to sleep and, thank their subconscious mind for graciously moving over, put a glass of water next to the bed, a journal next to the bed, because this mother is knocking, trying to get through her and visit her in the spirit world. And that will mean to her so much more than what I'm saying now.
Very nice. Yes, when you talk about spiritually awake, it's a good time for us to do that. Well, we've got a lot to talk about that, especially as it relates to the blog that you wrote, which I was just fascinated with. So thank you for, before we get into some of that, we're going to take one more question that came in through for mediumship. But thank you, Patty, for asking the question. And thank you, Michelle, for such a beautiful delivery in the answer from her daughter. The next one came in from Henrietta, who would like to hear from her sister, Elizabeth, but we're going to be heading into break first. We'll be back in 2 minutes with our guest, Michelle Whitedove.
Okay, mics are clear, everybody.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Are you seeking answers to life questions? Would you like to connect to a departed loved one? Are you suffering from pain, stress, or anxiety? Kimberly Thalkin is a tested, certified, and professional psychic, spiritual medium, energy healer, hypnotherapist, and the founder of Love First, where life transformations happen. Love First services support, guide, and empower individuals by connecting them to their highest potential to live a healthier, joyful, and meaningful life that's filled with purpose. All services can be done by phone, Skype, or in person in Encino, California. Please visit lovefirst.info. That's LOVEFIRST.info for more information. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she's feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim and our special guest today, Michelle Whitedove. Michelle, as expected, social media is blowing up right now because everyone's got word you're here with us. So thank you for spending your time with us this hour. Let's quickly, because I know there's just so much ground to cover here. We had one more question come in on the mediumship front as we're getting to before the break from Henrietta, who would like to connect to her sister Elizabeth. I don't have her sign. I've got Henrietta's, which is Sagittarius.
Yes, a Sagittarius, which she has no filter. She just speaks her mind. And she's adding about a transition or a friend that's lost. I didn't catch that. But what I did catch, I heard the nasty C word, which is cancer. So is that validated? I love when they're on the air and it's validated.
Okay, well, I don't have her on the air with me, so I can't validate that.
Okay. Well, what it is that she had a very it came fast, the cancer, and she went fast, and she tried to fight it, but her body just wasn't tough enough to hold that, and so she went through that transition of going to the light, going through a tunnel, having a home welcoming party. Then everyone thinks it's judgment, but it's not. After we have our home welcoming party, a greeting of loved ones, even loved ones that we have forgotten, then we go and we have a life review and evaluation. And it's not judgment. We judge ourselves. God, Spirit doesn't. But again, this is a learning expedition. And so therefore, after that, souls will go into healing. And then when they're done with the healing, they can send prayers, well, even in the healing, and they can make visits. And I find for people to ask these questions, the best way that they connect, that means I really truly feel more than even as a medium giving them information, would be to learn to pray, meditate, be quiet, be still, breathe, and make those connections, because everyone is intuitive. And on top of that, if you just simply lay your head down on your pillow and go, I think my subconscious mind are graciously moving over because I want to see whether it's a mom, an auntie, a friend, or whatever it may be. And then that's where the connection's made.
All right. Very nice. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's always comforting, I think, for people to know that our loved ones are still with us. I would just, as we speak about what happens after one transition, you speak a lot about the soul and the journey of our souls, and I know you're teaching a class on this. But as you experienced at the age of 18 when you were in a terrible car accident and you had a near-death experience, always a fascinating topic, near-death experiences. Tell us about what happened there and what your experience was.
I was in Daytona, Florida. My family, we were recovering when my cousin had 2 types of leukemia at 15. And they said that would be it. And they said that he wouldn't go into remission. He did. And so we were celebrating that. And he wanted me to just get in the car, go a few blocks down the road to go, shopping with the rest of them. And Spirit told me very clearly, no. And he had me in a corner for 2 hours before I would even get in the vehicle. The minute that we got in the vehicle, and there was 5 of us, 2 cousins, myself, 3, and dear friends. And I don't like sitting in the back seat because I get car sick. So what happens, I finally just say, okay, the guilt trip, here I go, we're celebrating your remission. Got in the car. I always said shotgun unless I'm driving. And it's as if my guardian angel just stepped through, in my body, this masculine voice as my older cousin started to drive, to stop. And I said, who wants to trade places with me? And my friend Stevie was 15 at the time. He jumped up where I was sitting. I went in the back, sitting next to my cousin, but we were celebrating his remission, and a friend. Long story short, we're going down the road. A dog runs out in front of the car. She goes to swerve to the right side, my cousin, but there are people in the fields working. She goes into the oncoming traffic of a van, head-on collision at 45 miles an hour. Well, that young man died where I was sitting. That friend of mine died where I was sitting. He changed lives for me, and that sacrifice is my dedication doing this work and for humanity until my last breath here anyhow. But as you know, and I'm sure everyone knows, well, not everyone, but this is just a journey. This is just one short journey and experience out of many that we will have and have had. And it's really about us spiritually evolving here on this planet. It's based on duality. And the long story short, the car was completely like someone squashed it. My cousin Joey that was in a mission, he died, head injury. Stevie died where I was sitting. I looked up at the dog. I knew what was happening. I saw a white van, impact, 45 miles an hour, long story short. 2 were airlifted to one hospital. And my cousin that was driving, I was lifted to another hospital. But even before I got to the hospital, I died. And the paramedics pretty much said, that's it. They gave the baton and I died. And the funny thing was, and it's not funny, but I knew I was dying and it was very peaceful. There's nothing to be afraid of. And when I realized that I was hovering above the scene of the accident, I saw the paramedics working on me, I was like, oh, that's a hot mess. Wow. Oh, Lord. Okay, Joey's gone now. Stevie's gone. So I was also a bit angry, you could say, at that time. 18, you think you know everything, but you don't know anything. So hovering above the scene of the accident, I could hear the paramedics. I could see the scene. I knew my cousin passed. I knew Stevie passed. Long story short, all of a sudden I feel this amazing low vibration of light pulling me. And I turn around and realize I'm not dead. I can see myself. It's just a lighter version. And then what they did was pull me into the light. And my family members on the other side were like, go back, go back. And I was like, I know the rules, free will. I'm not going back. Look at that body. I was paralyzed. My back was broken. My arms reconstructed. My insides. I mean, it's a miracle. It's a grace by God because not only did I die and Clinky pronounced my death, but even when I came back, the spirit always wins that argument. What was very interesting is Spirit showed me my 18 years, like a life review and evaluation. And then Spirit said, it's not your time. You have to come back and do this work, and this is why this all sorted out. I said, well, I know the rules. I want to pass. I mean, who wants to leave heaven? It's such a lovely place of love and light. There's no darkness or illness or aging, And so, a long story short, I don't remember a good portion of it. I was on... They got me somewhat stable in the hospital, but I kept dying on them supposedly. And then they said if I would say anything, I'd be talking about spirit and angels and all of this. And they thought it was the morphine. So everything was reconstructed, and unfortunately, I was paralyzed. So. When Spirit said go back, I said, well, how am I supposed to go back to this, body that's just like ruined? And this went on and on. So Spirit had to show me my future 3 times and my mission and purpose to get me to have some sense to go back. And so once I was shown that, I felt that it was my contract, my personal responsibility. I signed up for this. There's a lot of souls I can help. Stevie traded places with me that day, and he gave his life for me. And so, long story short, I went through the whole process, and then Spirit said, you have to go back. This is who you are. This is what you have to do. And I'm like, you're the wrong person at 18. All of a sudden, I didn't know anything. And 3 times later, finally, I said, I'll go back. And so it was like a crash landing, but then I was in a coma. And what people don't realize for weeks, coma, they think that we can't hear them, we can't see them, we can't hear their prayers, their tears. We can. Many, many people. And then I finally got out of the coma, and then I was in ICU, and then they wanted to send me to another hospital. Well, at this time, I said no. And they said, what do you mean, no, you're paralyzed? I didn't know at first. I said, God promised me that I would not have the pain, that this body would heal, and I got to start fulfilling this mission at 18. Now, I was naturally gifted born, but what I got out of my near-death experience wasn't more gifts. I had the gifts. It was about that clear, with profound clarity and knowing that heaven does exist and life does go on, And I even know my contract and when I'm supposed to do that in this incarnation. So how many people can say they remember home, the heavens, or they know their contract, and then to follow that? So once I came out of ICU, they flew me to Miami, or actually Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It took me 2 weeks. They said I wouldn't walk. They said I wouldn't have children. They said my arm, everything they said, none of it was true. And Spirit, 2 weeks later, I was up looking for a job, getting an apartment at 18, and said, I better hurry up and do this work and wake up as many people as I can. And there it is. It's a very peaceful feeling.
That's amazing, Michelle. Can I ask real quickly? I mean, so did you meet God when you crossed over?
Yes.
And what is God like? Is God an energy? Is God? Did you see God?
It's a collective. It's a collective energy. You have to realize you're talking about 7 levels of heaven, and the most masculine, the Godhead, is at the 7th level, and Metatron is his. Actually Metatron is the highest ranked angel, even though the Archangel Michael, which I worked with Michael and Muriel when I had to do all these crazy tests. I'm so tired of testing it. But the point is, sometimes people just don't understand it until they see it. And I was really on a mission with America's Psychic Challenge I didn't even know about the money, by the way. It was to show the world, or show, I thought at the time, at least in the United States, there are people that are truly born and gifted and God-like and use our gifts for highest good and to be of service to humanity. I think that's very important. But when I crossed over and I came back, I was on a fast track. I didn't care what anyone thought about. Okay, I'm going to do it. It's the best way I can say it. There's nothing to be fearful. It's just the most condensed version of love and wisdom. It's a consciousness. It's an energy. God is all things.
All right, beautifully said. Stay with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes with Michelle Whitedove.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
If you've ever said, I do want it all. I do want happiness. I do want love. And I do desire the happily ever after fairy tale life, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, for my internationally acclaimed show, Bridal Talk Radio, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, where I'll bring you the top experts in the fields of communication, money, relationships, finance, pleasure, play, travel, sexuality, parenting, real estate, adventure, comfort, care, passion, and love.
Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com. One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Mark Lanehart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Mark's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide, are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Mark's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marklanehart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
Are you ready to shift your energy, consciousness, and limiting beliefs? Join me, Shefali Burns, every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern on Shifting with Shefali here on OMTimes Radio. Shift the blocks, limitations, and negative energies that have kept you from experiencing a life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Are you ready to shift with Shefali? Are you ready to shine your brilliance?
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
And welcome back to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. Today we have special guest Michelle Whitedove, celebrity psychic, spiritual medium, and author, and she's live from LILLYDALE, a place that I one day hope to visit in my my own personal soul adventure. So Michelle, before we went to break, we do have some questions that are just rolling in on the Inspired Living Radio Facebook page. So if you want to join right now and interact with the show, head on over to Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio. You were talking about what your experience with God was, and if you don't mind, I'd like to have you just talk about the peace that you experienced and the love as well. From my own personal near-death experience, it was amazing, and it always seems that those of us that have had NDEs have that in common about the peace and the love and maybe not wanting to come back. If you just want to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's the Godhead, okay? Think about it, is a collective consciousness of all life. All right? And that's the masculine side. When I crossed over to 18, I saw the hand of God that said, everyone listening needs to know that we all are a fragment of the Godhead. We are all God's children. And people forget that. And so it's a very loving, a very peaceful energy. There's so much wisdom. And you, all the things that you put so much value in, or materialistically speaking, means nothing. Because guess what? When we do cross over, we take our deeds, we take our action, or lack of, our words, our karma. And in this life evaluation, and again, a spirit is a loving spirit, a great spirit, great God. And it's a collective consciousness. And we try to work our way up to that seventh level. So, I think that people need to realize, like as I was hovering above the scene, I thought I would be so much more attached to the body and everything that was going on, but that's the ego. When we're in human form, here on earth, we have the ego, the lower mind, and the subconscious mind, which is like a bank that holds the records, and then your higher self, which we all should be returning to our higher self, our intuition. I always say, let the ego go and let God take over. It keeps you humble. But there's nothing for anyone to be fearful. It's peaceful. It's the most love that I have ever felt. This condensed version of unconditional love, wisdom that blew my mind before I could finish thinking a question. The question was answered with such seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, tasting, knowing. There's no lack of communication of heaven. And there's only light and love and wisdom, and we still carry on, and we still carry on in the heavens. It's not like we're hanging up on a cloud there, or floating on the cloud with a heart and a white robe. God isn't a man with a beard with this big staff. It is a collective consciousness of all things with love, unconditional love, which is universal language besides numbers, because they hold frequencies, vibration, and that frequency and vibration. May I mention that this year you guys are going to see a lot of that. Because 2016, you're going to see a lot of people shift. Oh, nope, I'm going to be spiritually inclined. I'm going to light up, and they're going to understand that they are part of that Godhead, a fragment in the Christ consciousness that is within them. There is nothing to be afraid of. It is the most peaceful transition. I remember looking to my right, seeing angels, looking to my left, angels with wings. I met the council, the 12 others of the council, the Akashic records, with guidance. the Godhead, a part of the Godhead will say Jesus actually too. And let me be clear, I'm not in any man-made religion, but I'm certainly refer to myself as a spiritual medium. Mm-hmm. And the only way I say that is because I find when men write rules and have this belief system that is not the truth, then it's a tendency with religion and war I find go hand in hand, or, government and church hand in hand. So this is the time, this is the third shift in 2016 that we all really need to wake up of our own free will. And God's not pressing, saying, you make a choice. It's up to us individually. But the more people wake up and they realize that it's a smooth, the most wonderful feeling I've ever had, that I didn't want to come back. And you can talk to anybody who's had a near-death experience. And mine was very long, by the way. They have that knowing when they come back, and it completely changes everything for you in a positive, loving way.
Michelle.
So much wisdom there. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I am sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the thought. I just have a question when you're finished.
Pretty much. I mean, that's it. All I'm going to say to everyone, there's nothing at all to fear. Once that silver cord is severed, you cannot get back in your body, and then you make your transition. And just know that God is a loving God, a good God, a great God. And, people that I've actually had more than one near-death experience. But the most profound was when I was 18, because it got me very quickly helping people right after that and using my gifts.
But what happens? What happens though? I mean, you said not everybody has the same experience. So is there a hell? I mean, what happens, let's say, to the terrorists?
No, there's not a hell. No, God did not create hell. Man created hell here on earth, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they'll do it in a lower astral realm, and they'll create this posse of the collective consciousnesses about what they created. But God has not created hell. God created this earth, and God does not judge us, but loves us and says, okay, well, what did you learn? What karmic debts were positive, negative, paid? What spiritual lessons did you learn down there? Maybe forgiveness. That's a hard one for humans when they're in form here. How about the lesson of the illusion of death, rejection, and loss, and abandonment? I hope that helps.
Yeah. So what would happen to somebody like, a Hitler or a terrorist or something like that in your understanding?
Oh, well, what happens? That's a very good question. Thank you. Meaning they're not just naughty. They're a dark soul, I call them. Because if they have an effect on our planet in the way that Hitler did, for example, which was atrocity after atrocity, and why that wasn't stopped sooner, that's what Spirit wanted to know. Then Spirit had to intervene. So I guess what you're asking me is people that are just a dark soul, what happens to them? A lot of times they stay earthbound out of fear of judgment. A lot of times they will remain as in the lower astral realm. A lot of times then finally, they have their angels and helpers too, believe it or not, but they have to look away because they cannot participate, bow down, engage, or entertain darkness. So, it's... I guess you could say let's just talk about Hitler for a minute. When Hitler returned to the heavens, he was stripped down to the core of his spirit, because just like in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. I'm just using that as an example. They stripped him down of all of his wisdom, his incarnations, his darkness, cocooned him, healing by the angels that are called mothers. And he's literally going back to pre-kindergarten, or let's just say kindergarten, and will stay in the heavens and learn, because they don't want him coming back here and wanting to conquer and destroy the world.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So real quick, Michelle, we're going to be going into our last break of the show here in a couple minutes. Real quick for our inspired listeners, can you give your website so folks can go out and visit you? I know that you're on, you have a lot of videos out there. You've been on a lot of television shows.
Oh,
and I know that we're not going to be talking about predictions this show in 2016, but you have a blog where you've put all your predictions where people can go read and see what's coming up for 2016. You just mind sharing that with the listening audience real quick?
Oh, not at all. Thank you. Just go to MichelleWhitedove.com. That's my official page. Shows where I'm at, the body of work. Also, Facebook. There's 2 Facebooks. There's Instagram. There's a fan page. There's a YouTube channel. So it just goes on. And plus, I continue to write books, and I don't only do it in the sense of with Kindle, but I actually am very old school. I'd like to have the book itself. Because what happens, guys, the lights are going to go out. Get ready, because it's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with old school. I totally agree with you there. So, Michelle, we're going to get into our questions because we have a lot of questions rolling in, and we apologize if we can't get to everybody's questions, but we're going to start as they came in order, and we're going to start with Olivia. She's got a question for you. She is a Gemini, and she wants to write a book. So you were just talking about books on being a professional dancer and transitioning to being a stunt driver. Is this a good idea?
That's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to say this. We as human beings have to stop limiting ourselves or allow others to limit us. It's time for all of us to wake up. But anyhow, going to that, the answer is yes, yes, yes. And she's a Gemini. They're very, very smart. And there's always more than one of them in there. I called her, she must have at least two. Two. Trust me. That's why they call them the twins. Kind of like, it could be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I'm not implying that. It's just an example. But she gets bored very fast, and she needs stimulation mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And these kind of things, you got to be an adrenaline junkie. I should know, because it takes one to know one. And so I think this is great. And actually, I see this person not only doing that, but even doing bigger and better things in the business, we'll say, or in stunt work, movies, the media, Hollywood, all of that. So congratulations to this person.
Why not? Life is short. Have fun, right?
Oh, yes. We need to all
as we well know.
Yeah, laughter is the best medicine.
Exactly. Well, thanks for your question, Olivia. We always appreciate our inspired listeners. We have a second question, just going to keep going along. If we come up on the second or the third break, we'll hold that question until we come back from the 2-minute break. But our friend Jessica here in Washington, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Jessica. She wants to know if she has a move in her future, and her birthday is today, so she's on the cusp of Aquarius and Capricorn. And Michelle, hold that thought. We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll come back and we'll finish up with all the questions that are streaming in. You're listening to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio, the voice of consciousness. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
This is Julie Geigel.
I'm Maggie Chula.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. Join us every week here on OMTimes Radio for Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
And welcome back, inspired listeners, to Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio. We have our celebrity guest today, Michelle Whitedove. We're going to get into our rapid-fire Q&A with you, Michelle, because we're going to try to get as many questions in the last section of the show as we can. We'll just spend a little bit of time on each question and move on to the next question. So we had the question before break from Jessica, who was on the cusp of I believe she said, Aquarius and Capricorn, and she wants to know if there is a move, and it's her birthday today.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy birthday, and know that with your birthday, everyone thinks January 1st, a new year, let's make all our promises and all of that. But really, when it's your birthday, it's a whole new year and cycle for you. So that's pretty cool. So happy birthday. The other thing, yes, she will move. And what was the other question, please?
The other question was just if she was going to be moving into the future, if there was a move coming for her. So
I feel like the job and the move comes together. It goes hand in hand.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that question, Jessica. Let's move on to our next question. Lucy from Canada, she has the exact same question as Jessica, except Lucy is a Virgo.
Okay. And repeat the question, please.
Is there a move in Lucy's future?
Okay, Virgo. Well, first of all, I want to say this. She always wants to heal and fix everything. Many Virgos are like master past life healers. It's amazing. And the answer to her is that she just keeps procrastinating. I feel like she's giving the universe mixed messages. Yes, I want to move. And no, I don't want to move. Oh, I'm not sure. So when we're praying and manifesting things, which we're all co-creators, let's be positive. Let's be grateful. Let's be happy. Because the more you're fearful and stressing and being negative, you're only helping the very thing that you're fearful of and creating it. You're creating that. But it's just easy enough. I do see it to work out. It's just going to take a little bit longer.
A little bit of time. Okay. Well, thanks for the question, Lucy. Moving on to our third question.
Wait, I'm seeing about the like midway in 2016.
Okay, so the summertime?
Yes, but she needs to just stand her ground and stop going here, there, everywhere, or asking people's opinions and not getting it from the top,
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for that question. Moving on to our Twitter account, we had a question come in on our Twitter at Inspired4Us, the number 4, from Raul. He says, Dear Michelle, would you please tell me how I can improve my digestion and food absorption? I need to gain weight. Raul is a Taurus.
Ah, a Taurus. Okay, so no one. Okay, so he wants to know how his body can be fit.
Yes, as far as improve his digestion and food absorption to gain weight.
Okay. Well, first of all, his alkaline level isn't good. And if your alkaline level isn't correct, then it bottoms out, and it's called a leaky gut, and your immune system isn't there. He does need to beef up, actually, because I can see him. And protein, if he's eating right. But it's all about moderation. Here's a little meal. We're actually supposed to eat 6 times a day. Go figure. But no more than the size of your hand. It's about proportion control. But it's also about eating healthy, organic. Because if you don't have your health, you have nothing.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Actually, I feel like this. Yes. What does anything else mean if we don't have quality and quantity with our health? But it begins with us and it ends with us. But, I feel like he kind of yo-yos. He gets thin and it's a little bit thicker. So I'd say a lot of protein. That always helps. Also, I'd like him to put lemon in his water or get good water because, it's got to cleanse. Also green tea. But to pack on the weight, it's going to be protein 6 times a day, portion control, and then working out also. He'll have to work up and pump those muscles to take all of that energy, everything he's consuming. And please go organic, everybody, because I know it's a little bit more expensive, but you'll be very glad that you did. You won't be seeing the doctor so often and having all these health issues.
Well, and thank you for that question, Raul. You heard it here first on Inspired Living from Michelle Whitedove. Stop doing the yo-yo. Moving on to our next Twitter question coming in from the Twitter feed. Sheila Wilder says, "Hi, Michelle. What do you see for my love life in the next year? I am a Pisces."
One fish up, one fish down. Very sensitive. I hate to say something ever, honey, she has to really work on finding. Look, learn from your past, what you don't like, what you do like. It's not a mistake, it's a lesson. She's in the moment, but I feel like one of the biggest hurdles for her in her whole life, not just now, but this incarnation for her, has been her love life, mastering that partner that matches her and that energy, and that they can, kind of spar with each other. And she's not going to like this answer, but I want to say that I don't see it happening this year. I see her, let's just say, kissing a lot of toads before she finds her prince. And then I know this sounds crazy because I've done this myself, but I would also encourage her to do maybe the better, like Match.com, this kind of thing, because she's so struggling and she so wants to have a relationship. My heart goes out to her, but it will come. By the year 2017, she will be in a very solid, happy relationship.
Perfect. Well, thanks for that question, Sheila. And let's just keep the rapid-fire Q&A with Michelle Whitedove moving along. Kim, you want to ask the last two questions of the show?
Yes. Okay. This comes from Jacqueline. She says, "Hi, Michelle. Love you. Will I find love? We all want love." She wants to know if she's going to find love too.
Love.
Love. Well, this everything is about love. The opposite of love, I like to say unconditional love, because that means if you love someone, you love them when they're happy, when they're up, when they're well, but do you love them when they're depressed or down, or do you kick them in the teeth? So that's what I say, unconditional love. It's not always convenient, but when you love someone, that's the way it works. It's a give and a take. Okay, so go ahead, repeat that to me. I'm sorry. I'm used to talking to people, hearing their name, hearing their voice, connecting.
Oh, sure. She would like to know, her name is Jacqueline, and she would like to know if she's going to find love.
Tell her, okay, first of all, she's got to take her heart, or rather the heart that she put in the cage, and find the keys and unlock the cage, and then throw the cage out there, but don't let her, maybe somewhere it can be scrapped, and start over again. Because here we go again with another person that it's terrible to say, well, I'm trying, I'm forcing the issue. It's called divine timing. And you don't want to just be with anybody and settle. Why not be with someone that you truly not only love and you're in love with, but that you have things in common, and communication, money, all these things are very important. Trust, love. It should be based on love before money. And I just feel like she hasn't gotten this lesson yet. And remember, it's up to each and every one of us to take personal accountability or be responsible for our own actions or lack of. And she needs to change her shift. Stop chasing it. Tell her to forget about it. And it will naturally unfold. And it will blow her mind, because she will know immediately, Cupid hit me in the butt with an arrow, and him too. It will be a knowing within her soul. So I hope that helps. God bless.
Oh, excellent. All right, Jacqueline, some good inspirational guidance there for you. We have a final question that's come in from Natalie. She's an Aries, and she says, "Will I have any children?"
Oh, she's so stubborn. When she gets her mind set on something, she will not let it go. Go, girl. She's going to need help. I can tell you right now, she's a high-risk pregnancy as a health intuitive. The doctors are shooting her down. She's trying too hard also. Did anybody think it's not just about the intimate act? That's fun, but it's not just about that. God has to ordain life, gives it and says, okay, you want this family, or that family. So there is a soul hovering around. This is her miracle, her dream that she wants so bad. And I want her to know she's going to get it. Now, interestingly enough with her, though, I see her wanting to adopt, thinking she can't have children. And then all of a sudden she's pregnant. That happens all the time.
Oh.
So let it go, surrender it to God, and know you will get your prayers. They're already heard, and they're answered, and they should be blessed.
Oh, what a great way to end our readings here on this show with babies and love. It doesn't get any better than that. Michelle, thank you so much for all of your guidance today, for sharing your experience with us. As we knew it, the show has come to an end so quickly. For our listeners, please go to michellewhitedove.com for more information and read Michelle's blog. Very interesting information there on spiritually speaking. Thank you for being with us today. Mark, do you have anything that you'd like to add? We've got a great guest coming up next week too.
Yeah, we have Mark Langford coming on next week. And I just wanted to say, Michelle, thank you for the great work that you're doing, and through your near-death experience, realizing that how important and vital this work is for everyone out there. So, yeah, please head over to michellewhitedove.com. Check her out. She's doing excellent work for Spirit. And if you find yourself in Seattle, please let me know. I'd love to meet you in person. Or if I find myself in LILLYDALE, which I plan on in the future, I'd love to meet up with you. But thank you for your great service to Spirit.
Thank you, guys. You guys are very lovely, and thank you for having me, and God bless both of you. And we didn't even get to the questions and topics, so we might have to do this again, guys.
Oh, I feel there's a lot more to cover. Yeah.
and
exactly.
And Kim, to our Inspired listeners, thanks for all your questions. We'll be back again next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. This is Inspired Living with Mark and Kim here on OMTimes Radio. Be kind, be caring, be compassionate. Namaste.
Lots of love.
God bless.